US President Donald Trump has issued a fresh warning to migrants. He has threatened to close the whole of the US-Mexico border, including halting of trade with Mexico, if the arrival of migrants from Central America there leads to disorder. Trump has also said that he had given troops at the border the go-ahead to use lethal force if needed. The hundreds of migrants continue to march towards the border in defiance of Trump, and they say that they are in fact fleeing persecution, poverty and violence in their home countries of Honduras, Guatemala and El Salvador. Sri Lanka's Parliament is all set to reconvene today amidst the continuing political impasse. The House will in fact be appointing a select committee today comprising representatives from all political parties to conduct parliamentary affairs. The President Maithripala Sirisena's United People's Freedom Party has nominated at least 7 members in the 15-member select committee. Now, the committee's composition assumes significance as the Speaker Karu Jayasuriya has refused to recognise the government of Mahinda Rajapakse until it proves its majority on the floor of the House. Now, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has arrived in the United Arab Emirates in his first trip since the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The trip comes after the US investigative agency, the CIA, has said that bin Salman has ordered for the killing of the Saudi journalist inside of the country's consulate in the Turkish city of Istanbul. Now, the Saudi royal family has said that the Crown Prince will visit a number of Arab states at the request of his father, King Salman. The United Kingdom and the European Union have agreed on a deal which will define Britain's relationship with the European bloc post-Brexit. Having secured this, Prime Minister Theresa May is now asking lawmakers in the House of Commons to accept the agreement. Now, arguments heated up in the British Parliament as Theresa May tried to convince the members of Parliament to accept the Brexit deal. The Prime Minister Theresa May needs the support of 320 out of the total 650 lawmakers in the House of Commons. North Korea and South Korea reconnected a road across the military demarcation line inside of the demilitarized zone in joint efforts to exhume the remains of soldiers who were killed during the Korean War. Now, the two Koreas have in fact been removing mines in the demilitarized zone to make it safe before the exhumation of the bodies begins. The 3-kilometer-long road was built at a site that the two parties have designated for the project as it was a notorious battlefield in the 1950 to 1953 war. Zimbabwe's police and parliament security had to remove opposition legislators from the parliament after they refused to stand when President Emmerson Mnangagwa entered into the parliament. Now, the scuffle between the opposition lawmakers and the police started ahead of the budget speech when the Parliament Speaker ordered the police to remove the members. Remember, in the month of September, opposition lawmakers in fact had walked out of Mnangagwa's State of the Nation address to the Parliament, signalling their lingering bitterness after having lost a disputed presidential and parliamentary election in the month of July earlier this year. Over 600,000 public sector workers went on strike across Tunisia over the government's refusal to raise wages amidst threats from international lenders to stop financing Tunisia's weak economy. The schools, universities, municipalities and ministries remained shut, while hospitals had only emergency staffing in the nationwide walkout by government staff. The United Nations envoy Martin Griffiths met with Mohammed Ali al-Houthi, the head of the Houthi rebels' High Revolutionary Committee and an influential political figure, during a visit to Yemen ahead of peace talks expected to take place in the month of December. Griffiths, who arrived in the rebel-held capital Sana'a, is in fact pushing for negotiations early next month in Sweden to help end years of conflict that has left Yemen facing a catastrophic famine. The Anne Frank House Museum, built around the secret apartment where the Jewish teenager and her family hid from the Nazis during the Second World War, reopened to visitors after being renovated. The museum, located in the Dutch capital of Amsterdam, and the hideout where Frank wrote her diary, attract over 1 million visitors annually. Now, heavy rains due in the US state of California are expected to hinder the search teams who are sifting through the ash and rubble for the remains of the victims of the deadliest wildfire in American history, while inflicting misery on the evacuees camped out in tents. Up to nearly 8 inches of rain is forecast to fall in areas around the town of Paradise, which, remember, was ravaged by the Camp Fire. The blaze has killed at least about 81 people, while hundreds still remain unaccounted and therefore are presumed missing. A dramatic video shows the exact Southern California wildfire as it consumed a home in Malibu resort town, and it is now doing the rounds in social media. The Woolsey fire has ravaged almost about 18 square kilometers in Ventura County, destroying almost about 5,000 buildings. Now, the cause of fires is still under investigation, but a recently filed lawsuit accuses an electric company of having failed to shut off power in the area before a larger blaze began. The fire officials in Australia's New South Wales state declared emergency warning for wildfires burning north of the Sydney city. Residents in some streets in the area have in fact been warned by the officials that it's too late to evacuate and that they should seek shelter as the wildfires have spread further. The cause of the blaze is still unknown. A dust storm traversed across much of southeast Australia, causing authorities to halt flights and also have issued a public health alert. A video shows dust enveloping parts of New South Wales and South Australia, turning the skies red. The storm was in fact caused by the strong winds in a low-pressure system that blew clouds of dirt across much of the region. The dust storm is expected to blanket eastern New South Wales and Australia's capital, Canberra.
It's getting closer.
The dust storm has reached parts of Sydney, with haze blanketing the city and outskirts. The storm has left Sydney's iconic landmarks, including the Opera House, shrouded in haze. The storm has reduced visibility of most of the affected areas, apart from sparkling air quality concerns. NATO troops stationed in Afghanistan mark Thanksgiving with a traditional turkey dinner at their headquarters in Kabul. The soldiers ate at the mess hall, which was decorated with turkey motifs, fairy lights and also tinsel. The mood amongst the diners was cheerful despite being far away from their loved ones.
Excuse me.
The balloons based on Netflix as well as Japanese anime characters were displayed in the US city of New York ahead of the 92nd annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. A Goku balloon based on the Dragon Ball series character was amongst the main highlights of the event. The march was also joined in by clowns, cheerleaders and also marching bands. A Christmas tree from northeast Italy was delivered to St. Peter's Square in Vatican City. The Christmas tree as a tradition was introduced by Pope John Paul II in the year 1982. That year, he received a Christmas tree as a gift from a Polish farmer who brought it all the way to Rome. Since then, the offering of the Christmas tree to the Pope has become an honor, and each year, the Vatican accepts a tree donated by a different European country. A fashion designer has kicked off the festive season by lighting up the Paris's iconic Champs-Élysées Avenue. Over 400 trees on the famed avenue sparkled with twinkling red little bulbs to the joy of onlookers and cars on the busy streets that lead up to the Arc de Triomphe. An ice sculpture exhibition in the Belgian town of Bruges will open its doors to visitors for a freezing walk through a world of illuminated frozen creatures, which organizers are calling as the first ever digital ice art museum. The 40 artists from around the world have in fact been chipping away ice to build a wintry wonderland that comes alive with the use of 3D video and LED lights that are reflected and refracted by the ice. The organizers have said that the exhibition has been running for 17 years, but this is the first time that LED lighting has been used to light up the sculptures. So dozens of chefs gathered in Oruro in Bolivia to make the world's largest charquequan. The charquequan is a local delicacy whose main ingredient is llama meat. Now, local officials say that over 500 kilograms of llama meat was in fact mixed with eggs, corn and potatoes. The event was a part of a fair which is promoting the consumption of llama meat.